All right, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel, shalom. All right, this is your brother Kazaki out of Great Millstone, New Orleans, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shem El Shai. But prior to getting started, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Al-Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles like Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? And the title of today's lesson is going to be It's a Cold World, all right? That's the title of today's lesson is It's a Cold World, man, all right? And, you know, we talk about what, you know, the love of the people, you know, waxing cold. I'm going to go ahead and actually start it off, you know, with that scripture, right, from out of Matthew. This is Matthew 24 and verse 12, and it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, man. Okay, so, you know, nobody's having pity, you know, for anybody, right? You know, this goes from, you know, city to city, state to state, okay, from friends, you know, turning against friends, you know, neighbors turning against neighbors, you know, everybody, you know, basically out to, you know, it's basically every man for himself, all right? You know, long story short, okay? It's a so-called dog-eat-dog world, and that's why I titled the lesson, you know, It's a Cold World. Now, I actually want to get that word cold, Slakia, not cold. Yeah, Slakia is cold, right? And I believe when you look it up, the Greek is suke, all right, suke, okay, and it goes back into this word here, which is a cycle when you know, when you press on the word to hear the word being said, okay. But just getting a definition on it, it says an irrationally aggressive or cruel person, and that's what we're coming across. Someone's irrational, right? You know, a rational person has what, a mindset that has discretion to it. Someone that's irrational, they don't have that. It's like they don't have any filters, right? They're impulsive. They just do things, right? Okay, and you know, ultimately they have what, you know, demons on them, okay? All right, and that's the time frame that we're entering into. And I'm gonna give a quick personal testimony, just real quick, on, you know, when I went to the store the other day, okay? But I'm gonna finish this definition off first. It says exhibiting irrationally aggressive or cruel behavior, right? And like I said, the origin is Greek, suke, okay? And there's breath, soul, mind, going into what? Cycle, man. So, you know, the mindset of the person, right, is just completely thrown out of whack, right? Some people might not even be in touch with reality. And I brought that out because, you know, there was a guy, you know, outside of Walmart, you know, just kind of wandering around, you know, looking like maybe he was leaving, but he really wasn't leaving. And I was just coming in, and this is really early morning, okay? And by the time I left, he still was in the parking lot. And the guy kind of pops up out of nowhere, and he asks us to use the phone, right? He actually used my phone. You know, some brothers, they may have, you know, one phone, or they may have two phones, you know, but, you know, my spirit was like, just, yeah, nah, you can't use my phone, you know, because the way he came up was like, you know, the countenance, right, the look on his face, you know, his energy, his spirit, his aura was just you know, that of a complete demon, man, right? And that's the vibration that's going out on a people who's not in tune with Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai, the Lord, man. So the Lord is setting these people up to lose their mind, so to speak. Okay, you know, and that's what's happening with the people. He gave me the spirit of a complete demon, right? He reminded me of you know, the It, when you know, the little the clown or whatever from It came up out of nowhere, and he's like, hey, like, like, how what's going on, yeah, he was not to be trusted, okay. But the people, I'm gonna get this real quick on a side note, okay. Hold on, give me 1 sec. I'm driving. Alright, this is Proverbs 22 and verse 3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. Now, this guy says that, his truck was on, right? But his keys was locked in his truck, okay? But after I told him no, he couldn't use the phone, he then proceeds to go get in the vehicle and drive around to a spot that was closer to my spot. Now keep in mind, he just said that his keys was locked in his truck, and his truck was on, and that he couldn't get in, and that was the reason on why he needed to use the phone, okay. And like I said, the moment I saw him, I was like, this is a demon, man. This is a demon, okay. What do they call it? Spiritual, spider senses went off. Said, nah. And he could have been, that guy could have been out there to hurt someone, right? We got that going on a lot. We got a lot of just random attacks on people, so we got to keep our head and our eyes on the swivel, because things ain't going right in other people's lives, okay. They feel like that they have the need to take it out on other people, okay, or things not going right in the country, all right. But I'm going to read this one again. It's Proverbs 22 and verse 3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, right? So, I in the spirit, I foresaw that this man was, he was a wicked man, that he was just a complete demon, right? And, me giving him an answer I gave him, basically, ban me away from his presence, because he's like, oh, okay, all right, you know what I'm saying? But what it says, but the simple pass on and are punished, right? But a simple person would have probably gave this guy, right, the phone. You wouldn't even want that guy to be close to you. Like I said, he could have been out there to seriously injure or harm someone, right? We don't take the chances, okay. Alright, let me get another precept real quick. I don't intend for this one to be long. Alright. Bear with me. Alright, this is Ephesians 5 and verse 15. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Man, we got to use wisdom, man. Right? We are sheep in the midst of wolves. Right? We got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Right? And circumspectly going to being what? Just aware of your surroundings. A circumference, right? A circle, right? Inspect, going into spectating, right? So just being aware of what's going on around you completely, man. Right? So, that's, a part of that's something that we have to do. That's a part of our daily journey, man. Be wise, man, and be watching, man, because somebody is always out there for all the wrong reasons, right? And if you're not being wise, right, you could be, just more along the lines walking, into harm's way, okay? Yeah, you don't want to do that, all right? All right, let's get another precept real quick. This is the one I want. Salakia, bear with me. Road, trying to see. Alright, this is 2nd Esdras 6 and verse 24. And matter of fact, I'll start at 22. Let's go here. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Okay, we just had the the SNAP benefits be cut off and then given back, and now it's cut back on with certain stipulations. Okay, when all hell break loose, and it ain't gonna matter whether you have so-called EBT or SNAP, because the scriptures tell you, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, right? Which kind of goes back, into today's lesson, which, it's a cold world, you know what I'm saying? Because the people who do have the resources, guess what they gonna do, right? They're gonna get everything from out the store, all right? They're gonna run and ransack the store before you can even get there, right? And it says the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, okay? And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. And it says at that time, right? It says, shall friends fight, right? One against another like enemies. So friends are gonna fight each other one against another like enemies, man. Right? It's a dog-eat-dog world. Okay. What they call that? It's an animal kingdom, right? So-called survival of the fittest, man. The biggest, strongest, toughest, baddest people are gonna be the ones running things. Okay. And it says, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, right? And it says, the springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. All right. Okay. But the point in the verse was, man, friends are gonna fight like enemies. They're gonna be foes, right? Somebody you've been hanging out with, you know what I'm saying, that you've done everything with for the past few years, okay, or all your life. Okay, that person's giving the shirt off his back, he's giving the shirt off, you've given the shirt off your back. When it comes down to it, in order to preserve your families, man, they're gonna fight, man. Okay, that's what the scriptures say, and like enemies. Okay, you would have never thought these people were friends in the first place. All right, let's go get another precept real quick. I think the one I want is down. Yeah. All right, this is 2nd Esdras 8 and verse 50. It says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So the Lord is going to have these spirits come on these people, right? That waxing cold spirit come on these people for what? Right? Because of the many great miseries. The Lord's going to have these demons manifest themselves within the people. Okay? So it behooves these people to do what, man? So you Israelites, right? And I'm talking about you so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, man, woman, and child, to come back to your power, man. Because the Lord is going to make it where there's no way out without him, man. Okay, you're going to have to go through Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai in order to receive salvation, to be relieved from the troubles, the adversities, okay? The things that are coming up against you to try you, you're going to need the Lord. There's no way to pass the test without him. Okay? So go ahead and get another precept. We'll probably close out. I don't want this one to be too long. Let's go. I think it's back one chapter. Let's go here. Bear with me. Alright, this is 2nd Ezra 7:41. It says, even so now, okay, seeing corruption is grown up and wickedness increased. Okay, it talked about, the many great miseries being done to people, right? Iniquity abounding within the earth. Okay, so the Lord is going to give these people over to their own lusts, their own mindsets, right? They was bugged out before the world went, to absolute crap. They're going to be 10 times more bugged out, when all hell breaks loose. Okay? And it says, even so now, seeing corruption is grown up and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it not be so? It says, wherefore shall it not be so now also? Okay, let's continue on the verse. The point is in verse 43, and it says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end, where much glory doeth abide. And it says, therefore have they prayed for the weak. Okay, verse 43, it says, but the day of doom, this is the day we're coming into. Okay, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time, right? Because eventually the Lord will restore, the entire nation, but he's going to start off with, the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, and it says, in the beginning of immortality for it to come, wherein corruption is past, man. So all these, corrupted individuals, these the mindsets of the people, the devices of the wicked, okay, all of their plans, is gonna come to naught, man. All right, but the point really is, beware these people out here, man. Okay, yeah, we fight for this time frame, man. Yeah, we want the day of doom to come, right? So, Lord willing, we'll be a part of that number. We receive, immortality, okay? And corruption, right? The things that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, has put out into society is done. It's over with. It's no more, okay? But be on the lookout, man. Keep your eyes open. Be circumspect. Don't be, whatever they say in the world, like sleeping or whatever. Just be spiritually aware of your surroundings at all times, man. Because there's a lot going on with ICE. Nero 47 is, making moves, on the people. Okay. And really starting his wicked, campaign, to bring about what the Lord ultimately wants is a JT, right? Jacob's trouble and World War III, man. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shema Shalom, willing this lesson was edifying first and foremost to the hopeful elect. But prior to getting out of here, I want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of earth. All right. Kwam Yasha Allah, Abba Ball, and Shalom.